Now, we will talk about how to use se with reflexive verbs. We have been discussing reflexive verbs before, but now it's time for us to know the difference between a reflexive verb and a pronominal verb. This might be your first time hearing about pronominal verbs, so let's go deep into them to see how they differ from the reflexive verbs. A reflexive verb is a verb for which we indicate the direction of the action. So with a normal verb, the direction generally goes to a different person or to an object. But with reflexive verbs, the action comes back to ourselves. It kind of reflects on us again. So it would be something like doing the action to yourself. With regular verbs, the action is directed towards somebody or something else. With reflexive verbs, we have to indicate that we do the action to ourselves. These reflexive verbs are always accompanied by a reflexive pronoun. The reflexive pronouns are me, te, se, and nos. Remember, me, te, se, and nos. Please do not confuse them with the pronouns for indirect and direct object. That's usually a mistake many people make, but the reflexive pronouns are me, te, se, and nos. For example, take the verb lavar, to wash. I can say lavo el auto. So when I say lavo el auto, the action is directed towards something different than me. I am washing my car. But what if I want to say that I wash myself? Then I will have to go with the reflexive pronoun before the verb. So I would say me lavo. Me indicating that the action is directed toward myself. Another example. Ella se peina. She combs herself. Now, if she wants to comb the hair of her child, we would say ella peina a su hijo without the reflexive pronoun. Now, let's talk about pronominal verbs. What are they? These are verbs that are always used with a pronoun, but the action doesn't necessarily refer back to the subject. Some pronominal verbs simply require the pronoun to be used for the verb to function properly. The pronouns are the same as the reflexive pronouns. So the pronouns for pronominal verbs are me, te, se, and nos. For example, arrepentirse means to regret. Quejarse means to complain. Can the verb exist by itself without the pronoun? No, it cannot. I cannot say yo arrepiento. It makes no sense. It requires me to use the pronoun yo me arrepiento. I regret. Nobody can do this action without the pronoun. But in this case, it doesn't mean that I regret to myself or towards myself. It's just the way this verb works. What about quejarse, to complain? I cannot say yo quejo. I have to say me quejo. I complain. It doesn't mean that the action is directed towards me or that I do it to myself. It's just a pronominal verb. So that's the way it works.
Here are some pronominal verbs in context. To regret. I regret what I have done.
Me arrepiento de lo que he hecho.
To complain. They are always complaining.
Ellos están siempre quejándose de todo.
To dare. I dare you to call her now.
¿A que no te atreves a llamarla ahora?
To realize. Did you realize she was sleeping?
¿Te diste cuenta que estaba dormida?
To fall in love. They fell in love fast.
Se enamoraron rápido.
To remember. I don't remember where I left my keys.
No me acuerdo dónde dejé mis llaves.
To worry. She always worries about everything.
Ella siempre se preocupa por todo.
To make an effort. To try hard. I need to make an effort to understand.
Necesito esforzarme para entender.
To get scared. Do you get scared easily?
¿Te asustas fácilmente?
To laugh. They laugh really loudly.
Ellos se ríen muy fuerte.
To kneel down. I had to kneel down.
Tuve que arrodillarme.
To commit suicide. Many young ones commit suicide.
Muchos jóvenes se suicidan.
To make fun of. My wife always makes fun of me.
Mi esposa siempre se burla de mí.
To get angry. Sometimes I get angry.
A veces me enojo.
To behave. You need to learn to behave.
Tienes que aprender a comportarte.
So to sum up, reflexive verbs reflect the action back onto the subject. Lavarse, levantarse, despertarse. Pronominal verbs are always accompanied by a pronoun, a reflexive pronoun, but they do not reflect back the action to the speaker necessarily. For example, arrepentirse, to regret.